Hi Libra, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your March 2021 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you interested in booking a personal reading with me, just check out the description of the video for more details there. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's Celtic crossbread, and I also pulled an Oracle card and a Mudra card for you guys. But we're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice that we have in front of us to see where your focus is going to be, at least astrologically speaking. So start with that. Okay, so we have 8, so the 8th house, which for you guys, that's Taurus. So, well, currently we have Mars there and Uranus there. Mars is going to be moving into Gemini early in March, but at least for a little bit, you'll still have that energy in there. We have Neptune, so that's in Pisces, which for you guys is your 6th house of health, work, daily routines. And we have Scorpio, so that's your 2nd house of finances, and nothing really going on in there as far as astrologically speaking, but we'll see if that comes up as we go through the reading. Alright, so getting started with the main situation position, we have the 4 of Wands. So this is actually Aries energy, which is your opposite sign. It's usually an energy of expansion, celebration, successful completions around something. Can be a romantic relationship, especially for you guys, given that it is in your opposite sign. Could just also be speaking to a timeline, as far as you might reach this level as we progress through Aries season. So that's going to, start toward the end of March, and then this particular, these degrees of Aries will be closer to like mid-April, basically. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing there. And I will say this is more what this energy represents, but I'm feeling like for some of you, you don't feel like you're here quite yet. And the reason I say that is because in the Challenger obstacle position, we have the 6 of Wands in reverse. So this is Leo energy. This is a card that represents victory. Usually it just represents, at the very least, getting some recognition. So you might feel like that's lacking for you guys right now. Or you might feel like someone else has the upper hand in the situation and you're not necessarily too happy with it. But yeah, that's what I'm feeling there. As far as Leo, astrologically speaking, there's nothing really going on there either. But I will say, given that Leo represents 5th house energy, you guys have a ton of energy in your 5th house of Aquarius. And that could be part of what it was, especially given that we're just wrapping up that Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, and there's tons of energy in there. So this could have had you feeling like maybe, you're reevaluating your relationship situation and feeling like maybe you weren't as far ahead in the connection as you would have liked to have been at this point. In the foundation position, we have the Ace of Cups. So with this coming up in the foundation, I will say that, if this is where you guys feel like that area of your life is just lacking in general, this could just be saying that the opportunity for that will come about. And again, like I said, that would make sense astrologically too, as far as toward the end of March. We're going to have the Sun move into Aries and Venus will be moving in there. So it could just be a bit of a timing thing. But that's what I see there. And for some of you, if this is around, maybe this is a connection you want to get off the ground, but you feel like you haven't had success with it yet. And maybe you see the potential in it, but for whatever reason, you haven't been able to actually make it happen. This could just be saying that that's on your mind this month too. In the past position, we have the Ace of Swords and the 7 of Pentacles. So I do have to say, for those of you, if this is a connection that you're already involved in, with the Ace of Swords coming up in the past with the 7 of Pentacles, to be fair, I will say that to me this shows that most of you probably did express yourselves to this person and let them know that, hey, this might have been that cliche, what are we type of conversation, you know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm seeing there. But it could also just be maybe you were comparing where you are in your connection compared to other connections and feeling like it wasn't going as far as some of the connections in your environment were going. Just a few different ways that could be playing out. And maybe you felt like that the intimacy in the connection was lacking, if even not in just the sexual sense, but feeling like you guys just weren't connecting on a more emotional level. Alright, in the present position, we have the 8 of Cups, which is Pisces energy. the Two of Cups, which is Cancer energy, the Empress, which, it's more Venusian than anything, and you guys are ruled by Venus, but I do see this as more of the Taurus side of the Venus energy, since it just looks like a very earthy vibe. And we have the Two of Pentacles, which is Capricorn energy. So, alright, the first way that I'm seeing this, especially if this is around a romantic relationship, could be to say that I'm getting a vibe here that some of you might have walked away. Well, it's the present position, so maybe you haven't done it yet, but some of you might have plans to actually walk away, not necessarily in hopes of starting a new connection, but almost kind of, that, not even like an ultimatum thing. It's kind of hard to express what I'm feeling with this, but it's like almost like walking away, hoping that it'll kind of wake this person up, basically, you know what I mean? Like, all right, let me walk away, create some distance and see, wait for them to come around, right? And then maybe that's not happening and you're starting to doubt the whole connection in general, you know what I mean? And again, like I said, given all of the craziness going on in your fifth house, that would totally make sense if that's just kind of what you're feeling emotionally. But let me see what else comes to mind with this. And for some of you, this could be around career as well, I do have to say, because we see the Cancer energy there. And if that's the case, it could just be saying that maybe you're walking away from a job that you've been at for a long time because you have a meeting of minds somewhere else. I don't know, maybe if that means if you've been actively searching for a new job, but it looks like there could just be a meeting of the minds with someone where you feel like you just hit it off on a more financial level. And, you could actually find that maybe they offer you a job, but it might not start until Taurus season, let's say. So you could be trying to figure out, all right, well, should I just stay where I'm at currently until I'm closer to that time so I could manage the finances around it? You know what I mean? That's another way I could see this energy playing out too. But either way, I'm feeling like you're like kind of like a 1 foot in, 1 foot out energy right now. All right, in the near future position, we have the Tower in reverse, the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, which is Virgo energy, and the King of Cups, which is Scorpio energy. So Scorpio was one of the key focuses that came up for you guys, so there could be some significance there. So yeah, for some of you, this could definitely be around finances. If that's the case, this could just be saying, it might be best for you to just take a little bit of time away from your situation as opposed to, actually walking away, but maybe even just take, a long weekend or something like that if it's around finances, right, in your work. And just help that, kind of reset you as far as get back in touch with what your needs are as far as your finances go, right? As far as, is it fulfilling enough, if you're not being paid what you feel you are, is there other things they could do to help compensate for that? There's things along those lines. But with the Tower in reverse, I feel like this is saying for most of you, you're not going to actually leave the situation, but you might actually just stop putting in a little bit of work toward it and, really reevaluate what you need from the connection. Like I said, and if this is a romantic situation, could be a similar thing where, kind of like what I was seeing in the present, where I feel like this could say you might avoid a Tower situation by just, stopping to put in as much work toward the connection, right? So maybe it's one of those things where, all right, so let's say even if you are in what you would call a successful relationship, right? But you feel like you're the one who puts in the majority of the work in the connection, right? So obviously that could be a problem. It's like, all right, yes, especially maybe on the outside, it looks like a great connection, but you might feel like you're more the backbone of the entire thing, right? And that the other person isn't putting in their fair share. So if it's one of those situations, it could just be saying, in that regard, maybe the better way to do it as opposed to just completely breaking the connection apart could be to take it in a more subtle way to say, all right, well, what would happen if I didn't put as much work into the connection, right? And then just wait to see what happens if that stirs up feelings in you and the other person, right? And go about it that way. I mean, of course, naturally, a better way would be to communicate in general, but to be fair, until Mercury's out of shadow, like around mid-March, might not be the best time to do it just yet anyway. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have Death. So again, we see that Scorpio energy. And the Five of Wands. So, okay. Now, given that Scorpio energy for you guys is your second house, and we see the Five of Wands here, this could just be saying maybe in your work environment, if you feel like you're in a toxic work environment, right? Maybe it's a very competitive field that you're in. And especially these days, like let's just say a super generic example, you're in some kind of commission sales, right? And in general, if those areas aren't doing very well, now that might be bringing out the worst qualities in your work colleagues, right? Where they might be wanting to do whatever it takes to get a sale. So for some of you, that could just say that you might want to walk away from that type of environment. But for others of you, this could just say that you're actually deciding to walk away from conflict within the situation. So not necessarily leaving it all together, but not engaging in conflict. And to be fair, like I was saying, if this is more of a romantic connection too, that could also say, even if it's saying that you're not, you're walking away from conflict, this could just be saying that you're walking away for fighting for the connection. So that's another way I can see that playing out. In the environment position, we have the 10 of Swords, which is Gemini energy, King of Wands, which is Leo energy, and Judgment, which is, to me, Scorpio energy. This is like the death side of the Scorpio energy. This is the rebirth side of the energy. So interesting combination here. For some of you, this could just be two totally different connections. This really could be walking away from one thing and totally immediately starting another one. That's one way it could be playing out. But for others of you, this can just represent, like I said, I wouldn't say ultimatum is the right way to put it, just because, especially, I don't feel like you're flat out communicating this to this person. I feel like you're doing it in a more passive way. But it could just be saying that, it might take a wake-up call within the connection and you're kind of feeling it. Like I said, if you're the one putting in most of the work, and again, this could also apply in like a career setting too, right? If you're the one putting in more of the work in your office and other people are just slacking, and then you stop putting in all that effort, and then people actually start to realize, oh wow, okay, Libra's not doing the amount of work they normally do, and this place is going to shit, basically, you know what I mean? So it could be one of those types of dynamics too, and that could actually get the recognition that you're looking for, especially if this King of Wands energy represents a boss in your environment, right? Where they're like, oh, okay, we get it now, So it could be one of those things there. Let's see what else comes to mind with this. And, I do have to say, this could also be like kind of like an ego death as well. So and maybe that's what you guys are both experiencing, if this is more of like a one-to-one connection, kind of like needing a bit of a reality check, but it actually gets things back on a better path between you. So that's another way I can see it playing out. Interesting energies here, I will say. Like I said, it's probably at least partially because you have all that stuff going on in your fifth house. And then we're going to have a full moon toward the end of March in your sign too, so some significance with that. But yeah, in the hopes or fears position, we have the 10 of Wands in reverse, and we have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So yeah, for a lot of you, this is career though. And the reason why I say that is seeing this come up here, the 10 of Wands in reverse, it's like wanting to put that burden down, right? But at the same time, fearing that there would be other opportunities out there for you. So I could see how that could play out that way. And for others of you, again, there could be that reluctance to communicate that that's how you're feeling, right? So, it doesn't always mean that there's malicious intent when you're like going through something and you feel like no one else seems to care. It's like sometimes they could truly be oblivious to it, even though if in your mind, especially being Libras, where you like to see balance around you, but if they're just in their own world doing their own thing and they don't even understand that that's what you're going through, then yeah, naturally you could feel like left out in that regard. But I still, like I said, ultimately feel like some communication would really go a long way in the situation, whatever it is. But like I said, I get it. Until maybe like mid-March, that might not feel too easy to do. So I'll give you that. And in the outcome position, we have the Sun. So I would say this is definitely the good thing to see in the outcome position, that no matter what all this craziness is, like I said, for a lot of you, I really do feel like this is more of a career thing than anything, even though your 10th house is quiet right now. But this is really what I'm picking up on more than anything. I will say, your 6th house is going to have quite a bit going on with Venus moving in there, the Sun moving in there, and then Neptune already there. So could be around that. But yeah, with the Sun showing up here, to me, this represents whatever this is, like a lightness. So it definitely does look like you're going to put some kind of burden down. Like I said, for some of you, it might be one of those things where if you feel like you've been doing more to work in this situation, you might just stop putting in that work, and that might actually be the key where, the other person will kind of just naturally pick up on that and step up. So that's what I see there. But either way, it looks like you're going to be happy with the outcome regardless. So definitely a good card to see there. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the High Priestess, which actually I do tend to view as Pisces energy, which would make sense given that we're coming into the Pisces season. But again, this could be similar to what I was picking up on energetically for you guys too, which is to say I feel like you might not be communicating what you're going through, and that could be leading to a bit more difficulty in the situation. So that's what I see there. Moving on to the Oracle card, you guys got a change in the wind. There's the artwork, and the number's 12. I feel like you guys might have gotten this recently too, like maybe last month or the month before. Pretty sure, I don't know. Maybe I'm just making it up in my head, but interestingly enough too, that's 12, and then that makes me think of the Pisces energy. So definitely some significance to things coming around for you guys during Pisces season. But under essential meanings, it says the sense that unseen change has been initiated, preparation for a storm, awareness that your plans are not on firm ground, feeling a shift, uncertainty about which direction the winds will blow. The Oracle's message. It's human nature to yearn for certainty and resist change, to want the world to remain consistent like a zebra's stripes, yet nothing in human experience is black and white, nor will anything remain static. The one thing guaranteed is change. Now is a time of transformation, as outer conditions are temporarily moving out of sync with your desires and expectations. Stay the course and remember that even storms serve to clear the air, scatter seeds, and nourish the soil for better things ahead. Life is about to get interesting. Anticipate it with curiosity as you wonder what is coming in on the shifting winds. The unknown is where the magic lies. So, interesting message there. To stay the course and remember that even storms serve to clear the air. That made me think of the Tower being in reverse and the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, where like I said, it looks like you guys just might stop putting in as much work around the situation. And I will say it might actually work in the long run, but you might not see immediate results from that. So maybe that's part of the problem, where you might feel like, okay, I'm going to stop putting in work around the situation. Like I said, whether it's your career or just a romantic connection, friendships, you name it, could be almost anything. And you might feel like that's going to cause an immediate effect, but it might just be a bit more delayed. So something to keep in mind there. The relationship message says, relationships go through periods where partners seem out of sync with each other, and stormy emotions and moods threaten to take down the ship. Perhaps someone has a change of heart and leaves. These rough seas offer opportunities for mutual growth, a way for you to understand your own heart better, and to know what you need to truly be happy. Rest assured that whatever is happening now, good will come from it. Take temporary shelter and remove yourself from drama. The air will clear, and everything will be fresh and new again. This, too, shall pass. So an interesting message there, too. Especially the part where it said, take temporary shelter and remove yourself from drama. That makes me think of the Death card with the Five of Wands. So yeah, I mean, for most of you, this looks like this is more of a temporary thing. And like I said, it could just be with all the craziness you guys had going on in your fifth house that might have had, especially the Mercury retrograde, if nothing else, right? Where there could have been miscommunication and whatnot. But yeah, for the most part, it looks like it's going to iron itself out. So, and that could be a message there too, where, you might actually be called to not put in a lot of effort into the situation right now and just kind of let it play out more naturally, but hopefully that resonated. The prosperity message says, as you endeavor to create a prosperous life, you may encounter unexpected reversals that cause you to shift directions. This is a good thing, so there is nothing to fear. Perhaps an opportunity you sought went to someone else. Perhaps you've pursued something that you suddenly realize is not in your highest good. You might not be 100% clear on where you need to go, but you are certain that things are not going as planned. Circumstances are not in your control right now. Wait it out. All will be well. Even better, actually. Trust. So definitely a pretty interesting message there. And I mean, I will say, we haven't had the full moon in Virgo yet, but that's going to be in your 12th house. And then, like I said, toward the end of March, we're going to have a full moon in your sign. So, that could be a bit of a shaky energy to deal with in general, a 12th house full moon, and then one in your sign. So could just be pointing to that as well. But yeah, more than anything, I feel like this is definitely pointing to more of a temporary phase. So hopefully that resonates with you guys in that regard. And moving on to the mudra card. So the mudra you guys got is the Matangi Mudra. There it is there. Keyword for it is authenticity. All right, and there's the info on it if you want to pause it or take a screenshot. But it says under benefits, facilitates diaphragmatic breathing, benefits the abdomen and abdominal organs of digestion, assimilation and elimination, activates the power of spirit, improves discernment and self-honesty, improves the voice and ability to communicate inner feelings. So I will say that sounds like that could be beneficial for you guys too, like I said, where it might just require a little bit more communication on your part. But if that sounds like a mudra that would be beneficial to you guys, I will put the name of the mudra in the description of the video as always. We'll wrap up there and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.